mic check, mic check. Peace. This is the Thompsonist one, and I just wanted to do another video, because I've been doing some more research on a lot of communities that was. Hold up, my bad, yo. And I just wanted to do another video. My bad, Joe. My bad. A little technical problems, but I'm back. All right, so mic check. I wanted to do another video, because I had got some more information. Like I did the Wilmington race rider, Wilmington massacre yesterday, but yo, after I did this, I just somehow somebody sent me a link or whatever, and they sent me, I believe, 3 additional more race riots that was back around that time. But after further research, I researched it and I found way more than that, man. And I'm gonna tell y'all, man, this shit is eerie, man. That's the reason why we owe reparations, man. We not just owe reparations because we on our own land. We hold reparations because of the fact that we was in this country before this country even got established like it is, right? So now that the country got established, they held us back the whole time that this country was getting established, all the way up until the 1970s. So now when you see all these immigrants that come here and get fucking jobs and are left to live free and unmolested and not being touched or not being harmed or not having the fright of trying to be into society like we had to go through, you see the difference and you see how that affected us all the way up until now. So now I did the Wilmington race riots yesterday, which I felt like was a very informative piece of work, right? But check this out. I got 8 more. Shout out to this website right here, because this website kind of like put it in perspective for me, because you can research each one of these individual riots, right? And they wasn't riots. They was riots on behalf of the Europeans that's coming in to destroy it. But you can Google each of these individual riots, right? And you can find a nice piece of research or literature to do your research from, right? So just something real quick, right? Something that I found that was very interesting, right? So when I got down to this one, right? Because some of these I heard about, but when I got down to the Washington, D.C. riot, right? I put this in, right? And then you know what came up? This came up. The snow riots. Now, I ain't know nothing about this. I'm not going to lie, y'all. I didn't know nothing about the snow riots, but I did know that Francis Scott Keys, who made the national anthem, I do know that the White House was torn down or was burnt down by Aborigines. And it was burnt down as a result of this right here, right? But I never really researched it in depth until I started looking this up, right? So look, I got about 40 minutes to burn with you guys, all right? I'm probably going to have to do 2 parts of this, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Press 1 if you can hear me, just to make sure. And then I'm going to begin with it, all right? See, we want to put stuff like this inside of this documentary, not just putting the fact that we Aborigines. Because I'm going to tell you like this, right? You know what really raised the flag when I really started doing this research? When I did the colonization video. When I did the colonization video, it was telling you how you had this out. Follow me on this, people. It was telling me how you had Aborigine women who was killing their babies so their babies wouldn't be enslaved, right? And out of one of them, you got this one incident where you say Andrew Jackson jumped and saved one of these babies from being killed. And they said that they took this baby for his own. Now remember, Andrew Jackson had motherfucking slaves. Okay? Andrew Jackson was the prime one who was going around snatching the Aborigines from their own landmass. Now, what do you think was happening as a result to the people who he captured? They go your fucking black slaves right there, which was really Aboriginal slaves. Okay? All the Andrew Jackson slaves is Aboriginal. Andrew Jackson don't tell you that he went against any African American. Most of the people he was fighting was the Indians or the people who they was calling Native Americans, which we know that was us at the point in time. Okay, so like I said, when you touch on people, do some research on this right here, man. This is one of the real reasons why them $40 million slaves shouldn't be for that national anthem, man, because it's snow riots. And anything you see with Francis Scott Keys, you already know. See, Francis Scott Keys' shameful role in the snow riots, all right? Washington, D.C. first race riot, all right? Now, look, I'm going to come back to this. I'm not even going to touch. I'm going to go along with these, and I'm going to try to get as much as I can get done before I have to go, all right? So I'm probably going to do, like I said, maybe a 2-part to this, because it's a lot of research that has to be done further that can be individual research, not even just picking on, like I can pick the Atlantic Race Riot and find a lot of literature and research to really elaborate off, all right? So boom, let me take this gum out my mouth and we're going to get busy, y'all. So Atlanta Race Riot. And remember, if you can, I'm going to actually put my cat in the what's the name? I'm gonna put that in the description, all right? So if you want to send donations, man, so I can get this documentary out, Culture Freedom. We need this documentary out, right? This Culture Freedom is just not dealing on the fact that you are the only Americans. It's so dealing with everything now. They steal your culture. America is riding off the back of the Aborigines, and what they do is they give it to other people's culture, and now they don't even have to pay you no tribute now. They can just give Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake or fucking Mars or Cardi B. They can just yo fuck culture and let them, because you know, like man, with the exception to the brothers and sisters that come here that learn what white supremacy is, and you know, people come here for better life, but you have brothers and sisters who come here and be like, man, this some bullshit, yo. These motherfuckers is racist as hell, and then they have empathy for what was done to their brothers and sisters here. A lot of people don't. A lot of motherfuckers just go ahead and put their head down and just keep on working and don't say nothing. And just, America's a great country. After reading this, and after you knowing all the way up until the 1970s and in the 1980s, they put drugs into our community. So when was America great? When was it great? When it was great for the Europeans that came here. It was wonderful for them, because they came from a land where they was fucking eating dead babies, and they was fucking the bubonic plague and all these different plagues that was plaguing them. So they had a reason to leave, because they was also getting their ass kicked over in Europe. And the same thing when you see other people rush and run from their fucking country. Come on, this is such a great country, because they put the illusion on their face. They put a fucking illusion and these how you want to say these horrible, I don't want to go there, but they put a lot of illusions up in people's faces when they get here, and people fall for it. And once they realize what the truth of it is, they still don't try to then reframe, because it's too late at that point in time. You can't go back to your country because you done came here and mixed for damn Asian, and you don't even have, you gave up whatever your heritage or your culture was. You came over here. If you can't find your own type of people, you're gonna be one of these type of motherfuckers gonna mix with these Asians or mix with one of these other people, and that's gonna be the end of your bloodline. Okay. So with that being said, let's get with this shit. So you got Atlantic Race Riot, 1906. When the Civil War ended, Aboriginal Americans in Atlanta began entering the realm of politics. All right, remember yesterday with the Wilmington, what happened in Wilmington? You know what I'm saying? This was when you call Reconstruction, because we was thriving in Reconstruction, and you had these fucking illiterate ass fucking devils that came from these countries that they allow all these Europeans to come here, and all they did was came over here living in fucking poverty, and they get started oppressing us. The KKK, this is all your malicious groups, and they go on and on and on and on and on. Okay. All right, so it say when the Civil War ended, Aboriginal Americans began entering the realm of politics, establishing businesses and gaining notoriety. It say as social class, increasing tension between black wage workers and white elite began to grow, and ill feelings were further exacerbated when blacks gained more civil rights, including the right to vote. More tension exploded during the gubernatorial election of 1906, in which M. Hoke Smith and Clark Howell competed for the Democratic nomination. They say both candidates were looking for ways to disenfranchise the Aboriginal voters because they each felt that black voters could throw the election to either other candidate. Hoke Smith was a former publisher in Atlantic Journal. Clark. It's a Atlantic Journal. It's saying Clark Howell was an editorial of the Atlantic Constitution. Both candidates used their influence to incite white voters to help spread the fear that whites may not be able to maintain the cultural status order. Now, what did we read yesterday? All right, this is what you read most of the time when you see these race riots. These race riots wasn't because the blacks was jealous of the Europeans. It was because these Europeans was jealous that we was going ahead of them. Okay, now understand, you're on your own land. You gotta share your land with these immigrants that come here, and then they come here and practice racism on you. All right, so it says the Atlantic Georgian. It say the Atlantic Georgian. It say, and the Atlantic News. It say begin publishing stories about white women being molested and raped. Now, what did we tell you? What was they always saying? This is propaganda. This is propaganda. It say by black men. These allegations was reported multiple times and were largely false. Okay, on September 22nd, it say 1906, Atlanta newspaper reported 4 allegations assaulted on local white women. Soon, some 1,000 white men and boys began gathering, beating, stabbing blacks. It say is an estimate that there was between 25 and 45. Now, they say 25 and 45. We know the numbers is higher than that. It say Aboriginal deaths. It was confirmed that there was 2 white deaths. Now, they always going to tell you that the white numbers of deaths was lower than the so-called Aboriginal numbers, all right? Now, this is just another case of how these racist-ass devils came here. And like I said, man, this is your system of white inferiority right here. This is where the white inferiority begin. It begin with the fact of them doing this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And now let's go. Most of us already know about Tulsa, but you know what? I'm gonna read anyway. All right. So we got Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. They say May 31st, June 1st, 1921. Now, we know about this one, but I'm going to go in a little further because it's a couple of them, so I want to just keep them. All right, say during the oil boom, they say of 1910, the area of northeast around to flourish, including Greenwood neighborhoods, which came to be known as Black Wall Street. The area was home to several lawyers, realtors, doctors, prominent black businessmen, many of them multimillionaires. Boasted a variety of thriving businesses such as grocery, clothing store, bars, banks, hotels, cafes, movie theaters, 2 newspapers, and many contemporary houses. Greenwood residents enjoy many luxuries that their white neighbors, including indoor plumbing and remarkable school system. The dollar circulated 36 times out of 100 times, sometimes taking a year for the currency to leave the community. You motherfuckers don't know nothing about that. You niggas even go to Dominican barber. You niggas don't even support your own black barbershops. And like I still don't want to hear that Dominican shit, black. I don't want to hear that shit, man. That only takes for the ones that would say they black, but I'm not going to throw that term on everybody because them don't say they black. Now you can say, oh, they oppress people, people of color. I'm talking about my people here in North America. I don't care who else came here, who signed paperwork coming. I'm talking about my people first, okay? with the exception to some of the black brothers and sisters that came from some of the Caribbeans that come here and immediately identify with their people. Not the ones that sell us out, but the ones that really identify with their people here, okay? Now, like I said, the barbershops and all the stores and everything, we don't own none of that shit. Because of what? Because of crack cocaine, because of all of this shit that was done basically to keep. And I got a lot to go on this. So I'm going to probably make another part to this, all right? I'm going to have to make another part to this, all right? So where was I at? Boom. Just keep that in mind. We say the dollar circulated 36 to 100 times something a year for the currency to leave the community. You motherfuckers buy shit off of these people, and that's another thing, man. You got niggas like Puffy, Jay-Z, and all these fucking clowns that people look to. You look up to him. Jay-Z's a fucking devil. Puffy's a fucking fag-ass devil as well. Okay, none of these motherfuckers, and like Red Pill said, Puffy can pick every month and give $1,000 to black businesses, $100 to black businesses every month, but he don't. But he want to sit up here and act like, oh, this is black royalty. Black royalty is a bunch of drug dealers and a bunch of fucking thieves and a bunch of sellouts to the black community. These are not people who should be looked up on. These are people who had to basically sell out their own people to get where they at. And now where they at, and don't even pass riches down. They not even philanthropists amongst their own people, all right? So let's get moving. The neighborhood was destroyed during the riots that broke out after a group of men from Greenwood attempted to protect a young black man from a mob. It say on the night of May 31st, 1921, it's a lynching of Dick Rowland. It say a black man who shot shoes. It say after report spread that on the previous day he assaulted, here we go, assaulted Sarah Page, a white woman, in an elevator. She operated in the downtown building. Here go another thing, and this is what was happening. They always would blame, oh, this white woman, oh, and this was their reason for rampage and doing what they fucking doing, and they was lying. And they was lying the whole time. When is karma gonna hit these motherfuckers, man? Because after reading all this shit, like this shit make you sick. And it wasn't just in the 1900s. It led it all the way up to 2000 right now where we at now. But these Indians come over here, they unmolested. These Chinese people come over here, and none of these motherfuckers that come from none of these third world countries was no smarter than us. None of them was smarter than us, because half of these people didn't even have the shit that we had, and half of the Europeans didn't even have the shit that we had. So they make it seem like, oh, the Chinese are so much smarter. They're smarter off of your fucking technology that the European took your technology and basically passed it out through the world and then suppressed it on you and only gave it back to certain black people or whatever. And they said technology that you had, that you gave the world. Because most of the technology that go around, we gave the world. The light bulb came from a black man. The fucking train, the fucking car, C.R. Patterson, even though people would sit and say, well, you know, Henry Ford. No, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying, because we know ain't no black man gonna steal no invention from no fucking cracker. We know that. How did C.R. Patterson and Henry Ford make the car at the same fucking time? That's bullshit. Okay? Now, like I said, the cell phone, the fucking the heart, yo, all this shit that they gave to all these fucking imposters that come here, they gave all your technology and they make it seem like you never did nothing. And these people don't even fight and say, well, damn, you know what? Black people invented all this shit. They invented everything. But they used us as the fucking guinea pigs for all these experiments, for fucking the war on drugs. You put drugs in our community and was laughing. You put the drugs there, and then you took the money and was benefiting from it. Then you locked us up and fucking made us work like we third world fucking citizens to build all this shit for fucking 40 cents. Anybody who's been to prison before know niggas make 40 cents a Niggas make 40 cents a motherfucking day, okay? So what labor is worse than that? But then these same blacks, when they come home, can't even fucking get a job. You can't even get a job. I digress, man. That shit is fucking sickening. But let me keep it moving. The neighborhood was destroyed. All right, I read that. It say by Sarah Page, a white woman in the elevator she operated. It's saying, hold up, did I read that? All right. It's in the early morning hours of June 1st, 1921. Black Tulsa was looted, firebombed from the air, burnt down by white rioters. Firebombed from the air. Now these niggas tell you, oh, 9/11 was the worst shit that ever happened. But here you go, you got black Aborigines. You got black Aborigines that this is their fucking land. You running there and you bombing their own fucking thing. It say the declared martial law and National Guard troops arrived in Tulsa. Guardmen assisted firemen in putting out fires. It say remove abducted Aborigines from their hands of white vigilantes and imprison black Tulsa. It say not already confined in a prison camp, in a convention hall, and a fairground, some for as long as 8 days. Okay, let me see something. All right, let me keep it going. All right, so hold up. All right. In the wake of the violence, 35 cities blocks laid in a charred room. Over 800 people treated for injuries. It say, and an estimated 300 deaths occurred as a result of one ass fucking cracker going around telling people they did something. And this is how these people ran and rolled against us. All right. It say, look, 800 people was treated for injuries and an estimated 3 deaths occurred. We know it was way more deaths, but this is just what most of y'all already know. Y'all familiar. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's go to the Chicago race riots of 1919. The Red Summer, 1919. This ain't even got Wilmington, North Carolina up here, okay? So we already know how many more cities this shit happened to. This shit had probably happened to over 30 different black cities at this time. The Red Summer of 1919 marked clinching of steady growing tensions surrounding the great migration of so-called Aborigines from rival South to the cities of the North during the World War I. Chicago was one of the northern cities that experienced violent race riots during that period, drawn by the city meatpacking houses, railroad companies, and steel mills. The Aborigine population in Chicago skyrocketed from 440,000 in 1910 to 235,000 in 1930. They say when the war ended by late 1918, thousands of white servicemen returned home from fighting in Europe to find that their jobs in factories, they don't have no jobs in fact. These are foreigners. These are European fucking foreigners that don't have no jobs or nothing. You come in here taking land from other people, okay? They say warehouses and mills have been filled by newly arrived Southern black or immigrants, all right? But we know the black, there wasn't no other immigrants here like that because we could look on the census and tell, all right? So it say on July 27, 1919, an Aboriginal teenager drowned in Lake Michigan after he challenged the unofficial segregation of Chicago beaches and was stoned by a group of white youths. Look at these devils, see? It says his death, his death, and the police refusal to arrest the man. See, white supremacy. This is white inferiority. They all work together. They do the same shit now. Zimmerman still walking around. He wasn't even caught, but he was able to stand his ground after running and tracking down a young black man and shooting him in his fucking chest, which, you know, a lot of us think that might have been propaganda or whatever, but nonetheless, though, they still put it out there in the story for it to be a real live story, okay? It's a refusal to arrest the man who caused it. It's a sparked a week of race riot between blacks and whites. They say the black neighborhood received the worst of the damages. When the riot ended on August 3rd, it say 15 whites and 23 blacks have been killed and more than 500 people injured. Now, I bet you it say an additional thousands black families had lost their homes and were torched by rioters. President Woodrow Wilson castigated the white rage as the aggressors in the Chicago uprising. All right. We're gonna go to Rosewood. Now, most people know about Rosewood, but fuck it, since I'm going in on it, might as well touch on that too. All right. Rosewood massacre. Rosewood massacre, okay? It's not saying a race riot, it's saying a massacre. We know what the word massacre means. 1923. Rosewood was a quiet and self-sufficient whistle stop on the seaboard airline railway in Florida. By 1900s, the population in Rosewood would have become predominantly Aborigines. Some people farmed and worked in local businesses, including the sawmill in the nearby Sumner, and a predominantly in 1920, Rosewood blacks had 3 churches, a school, a large Masonic hall, a turpentine mill, a sugarcane mill, and a baseball team, and a general store. A second one was owned by whites. The villagers had about 2 dozen plank 2-story homes, some other small houses, as well as several small unoccupied plank structures. Spurred by an unsupported accusation that a white woman in Sumner has been beaten and possibly raped. Here we go again, y'all. When is these people gonna get their karma? And possibly raped by a black drifter. Here we go. They say white men formed a number of neighborhood towns, lynched a Rosewood resident. They say when black citizens defended themselves against the further attacks. Now look, that's the reason why we wasn't never successful, because they will all come together, and that is the white inferiority. That is your white, or what we call white supremacy. This is their white. When they all stick together, they can't let one of them take a loss, even though that they fucking wrong. And even though that you have the politics and the politically men sitting up there trying to fight for the individual, they're still overturned by the white inferiority as well. All right. So it said possibly was raped by a black drifter. White men, all right, we went over that. It say when the black citizens or the Aboriginal citizens defended themselves against the further attack, 700 whites combined the countryside, hunting black people and burning almost every structure in Rosewood. Okay, now you saying we don't deserve reparations when you got people coming here now, able to live free, don't got to go through none of this shit. Come here. Oh, come here. You see these motherfuckers happy and shit, running around, skipping and shit. Meanwhile, this is our legacy of what happened to us in this country. And then the people who come here, they don't even give a fuck. They can care less. That's why I say support your Aboriginal clothing. Let these people know you are Aboriginal. Let them know you've been here through the whole time. These immigrants that got here, they get the best treatment out of all of it. And the sad part about it is, after all this time, we went through all this. Now that we have a so-called fair opportunity, we got to share our fucking jobs with foreigners. And you Negroes will be like, oh, well, you know, that's a black person. No. We talking about us in North America first, man. Us in North America come first, bro. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Then after that, we could talk about our Caribbean brothers and sisters. And then after that, it pretty much goes after that. But when we talking about, and I ain't trying to be funny saying Africans, Indians, Chinese, and other European. I'm just letting you know, man. You gonna have to somehow figure this shit out yourself, bro. Because everybody's not here. Everybody's not here. They here to steal your culture. They here to act like they you and steal hairstyles, clothing. They want to be hip, listen to your music. They want to enjoy you being entertainers and actors and sports entertainers, but they don't want to be you officially. Unofficially, they want to be you. Officially, they don't want to be you. Officially, they don't have to be you because they can steal your culture. Because America then basically culture vulture, like, you know, Lyle Cohen stealing the whole rap thing and pushing it, whatever. They did that to your whole culture, everything you created. Like I tell you, I see motherfuckers who used to have fucking straight long hair. Now they got fadeaways and parts and, you know, afros and Brooklyns and everything that we rock, and trying to be you unofficially. You know what I'm saying? Officially, they don't want to touch you though. All right. So let's keep it moving. All right. So it's a survivors hid for several days. They hid for several days in nearby swamps and was evacuated by trains and cars to larger town. Although states and local authorities were aware of the violence, they made no arrests for the activities in Rosewood. It say at least 6 blacks and 6 Aborigines and 2 whites was killed. It say, and the town was abandoned by black residents during the attack. It say none ever returned. Now here go your gentrification, okay? And that's another thing which you got to understand too, right? They gentrify your community with immigrants. And then they basically bring the immigrants in, and you sell out blacks that get money. You'll move out your community just to live next to a fucking Chinese person, or live next to a European or whatever, and you will abandon your community or whatever, and then these immigrants come in and take over your community. And that's all gentrification. So you have to share everything that you fought for with other people who get treated way better than you. These people get treated way better than you get treated. Okay, but you sit here caping for them. Oh, they don't listen. I ain't got no problem. That's not my problem. My problem is my people here. They wasn't treating us like motherfucking citizens or like fucking human beings. But now we want to start caping for other people who getting treated worse or getting treated bad. You asked to come here. You signed up legally to come here and fucking, and how they say, and you signed up to come here. So you want me to sit here and fucking cape for you because you being treated? But you know, as long as you kiss these people asses and you work 17 hours a day and you do everything that they fucking tell you to do, you're 100, you're good. But then as soon as you start understanding what this white inferiority system is about, you want to start kicking and scratching. It's not the same for us as it is. We went through this shit for fucking 400 years since this European been here. You just got here and you kicking and scratching about, oh, they trying to send us back. Listen, you signed up for this shit. You signed up for this shit. Them jobs that go to you can go to the fucking rest of the 10% of so-called Aboriginal men that ain't got no job, and 90% of the so-called blacks in Chicago who don't have a job. So lose me with that shit. All right, let me keep it reading. Let me keep it going. All right. So I'm gonna go down to I'm gonna stop it right here, and I will be back, y'all. I got my daughters here, so I got a few things I gotta do. All right. So the Washington D.C. riots. All right. So we got the Washington D.C. race riots of 1919. All right. So post-war, Washington, D.C., roughly 75% whites, it say was a racial tinderbox. Okay, it said housing was short supply and jobs so scarce, an ex-doughboy in uniform panhandle along the Pennsylvania Avenue. It say, however, while Washington black community was the largest and most prosperous in the country, it say with the small but impressive upper class of teachers, ministers, lawyers, businessmen concentrated in Ledark Park, neighborhood near Howard University. Okay. Now it say by the time the Red Summer was underway, it say unemployed whites bitter. It say and then say the relatively few blacks who were fortunate enough to procure low-level government jobs. Many whites also resented the influx of so-called Aboriginals into previously segregated neighborhoods around Capitol Hill, Fargy Bottom, and the old downtown. In July 1919, white men military uniforms responded to a rumor arrested that a black man raped a black man. No, say no. I'm sorry. Oh, let me read that again. It say responded to the rumors arrested of a black man for rape with 4 days of mob violence. They rioted, um, randomly beat blacks or aboriginals on the streets and pulled others off of streetcars in attack. It say when police refused to intervene, the black population fought back. It say troops tried to restore order as the city closed saloons, theaters, and discouraged assembly when the violence ended. 15 people had died, 10 whites, including 2 police officers and 5 aborigines. It say and 100 less severely wounded. They say it was a few times when the white fatalities outnumbered those of blacks. Okay. All right, I'm gonna touch on this right here. Matter of fact, you know what? I might be able to finish it, but I wanna let me see something. All right, because this is kind of short right here. All right, my bad, because it's moving kind of slow. All right, here we go. The East St. Louis Massacre, 1917. See, this shit keep jumping up and down. I hate this fucking some of these. All right, and like I said, I could actually did a longer video on each one of these so-called riots or massacres or whatever, and went in depth. But just to touch on it, just so you guys can notice for your own historical values. All right. So the East St. Louis Massacre, 1917. During the spring of 1917, blacks were arriving in East St. Louis at the rate of 2,000 per week. It's many of them finding work at the aluminum ore company and a steel company in St. Louis. They say some white fear law of job wages security become up because of the new competition. The further resented newcomers arrive from the rival, very different cultures. Tensions between the group ran high and escalated when rumors were spread about black men and white women socializing in a labor meeting. See, and say in May, 3,000 white men gathered. See, they always gather. There's always one devil rounding everyone else up, and they always rounding them up, and then they will sneak attack you and do this shit. All right. They say 3,000 white men. Okay. Yeah, 3,000 white men. All these stories we hear about white people doing this. Okay. Now you'll bring this and you address this to white people these days. Oh, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That was your ancestors, motherfucker. That was your ancestors who did that. So you have everything to do. You have everything to do with that. But you would sit there and kick and scratch and act like you had nothing to do with it. Hey, y'all, give me 1 second. I'll be right back, y'all. Hold up. All right, so your boy is back. All right. All right, so it say 3,000 whites gathered in downtown East St. Louis. They say the robbing mob began burning buildings and attacked Aboriginals. The Illinois governor called in the National Guard to prevent further rioting and condition ease somewhat for a few weeks. Then on July 1st, they say white men driving a car through a black neighborhood begin shooting houses, stores. Here go your drive-bys. Look, here go your drive-bys, okay? It say, and churches. It say a group of black men organized themselves to defend against the attackers. As they gathered, they mistook an approaching car for the same one that had earlier driven through the neighborhood, and they shot and killed both men in the car. They say who were in fact the police detectives sent to calm the situation down. Wow, see that? That's crazy. Wow. Let me. It say the shooting of the detectives increased the growing crowd. Oh, hold up. My bad. It's shooting of the detectives increase a growing crowd. What the fuck is that on my screen, yo? My bad, y'all. Oh, that's a fucking spider, y'all. My bad. Little ass spider on my damn screen. All right, my bad. All right, so increase the growing crowd. A white spectator, they say, who came the next day to examine the car. The crowd grew and turned into a mob. They say that spent following night on a spree of violence, targeting black neighborhoods of East St. Louis. Again, guardsmen were called in, but various accounts suggested that they joined the attack. They joined in attacking black people rather than stopping the violence. Now, if you don't see what the white inferiority is, it's they all anytime when and you see this shit today. This same system is still going on today, whether we call it white supremacy, whether we call it white inferiority, whatever we call it, we see that this shit is a pattern of what was done back then. Okay, the police wasn't helping them because the police would see, well, damn, you know, these are fellow Europeans that this shit is happening to. We're not going to help the blacks, so let's join them and let's join in with them. And this is what the fuck you see. Okay, so it says after the rioting, varying estimate of the death toll circulated. The police chief estimated that 100 blacks have been killed, and renowned journalist Ida B. Wells reported in Chicago defending that 40 to 150 blacks were killed in the rioting. The NAACP estimated death at 100 to 200 to 6,000 Aborigines were left homeless after the neighborhood was burnt. Okay, now, like I said, man, let me see something. Let me refresh it, man. No, all right, there we go. Yeah, this is just one of these websites, man. Sometimes these websites, they just don't be cooperating properly, especially when you're trying to read it. They moving around all slow and everything, man. You know what? Let me see something real quick. All right, okay. All right, so that's it. So we got East St. Louis massacre. We got the New York. Oh, nah, you know what? I ain't read this one. Hold up. Matter of fact, let me see something. I think I might have skipped over another one. Oh, all right. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me see something. Yeah, see, this shit jumped around. I don't think I. All right, so I ain't read this one. Knoxville, Tennessee race riot, 1919. Let me see. Did I read this one? No, I didn't read this one. All right, so I skipped over this one in New York. So let me get finished reading this. All right. So Knoxville race riot, Knoxville, Tennessee race riot, 1919. It's saying August 1919. It's a race riot in Knoxville, Tennessee broke out after a white man mobilized in the response to a black man accused of murdering a white woman. Strong mob stormed the county jail searching for the prisoner. Look, they say they freed 16 white prisoners, including suspected murderers. You hear this shit? You hear this shit? They say after looting the jail, the sheriff house, and most of the time the sheriff was a sucker, so he had joined right with him. Sheriff house, they say the mob moved on and attacked the Aboriginal American business district. Many of the city Aboriginal residents aware of the race riot they had occurred across the county that summer. They had armed themselves and barricaded in intersection of Vine and Central to defend their businesses. Two platoons of the Tennessee National Guard, 4th Infantry, led by adjutant Edward Sweetney, arrived, but they were unable to halt the chaos. The mob broke into stores and stole firearms and other weapons on their way to the Black Business District. Upon their arrival, the streets erupted in gunfire as Black snipers exchanged fire with both rioters and the soldiers. Now, look, why would the soldiers get involved? All right. The Tennessee National Guard once pointed fire machine guns indiscriminately into neighborhoods, even dispersing the rioters. It's a shooting continued sporadical for 7 hours. Outgunned, the Black defenders gradually fled, allowing the guardsmen to gain control of the area. Newspaper placed the deaths at death tolls at just 2. They say though eyewitness accounts suggested that the dead were so many that bodies was dumped into Tennessee River, while the others was burnt in mass graves outside the city. Now I just read something about people being dumped in the Tennessee River. We just now, oh my God, man, this is crazy, yo. This is crazy, y'all. Let me moving on, man. All right, so you got New York City draft riot, 1863. The New York draft riot of 1863 was a 4-day eruption of violence in New York City during the Civil War. Stemmed from a deep worker discontent with the inequalities of the first federal mandated conscription laws. It say in addition to white workers class feared the emancipation of the enslaved blacks would cause an influx of Aboriginal workers from the South. In many instances, employees use so-called Aboriginal workers as strike breakers during this period. Thus, the white rioters eventually turned their wrath on the homes and businesses of the innocent Aborigines and anything else symbolic of their growing political, economic, and social power. See, it say on July 13, 1863, organized oppression broke out. It say the protest soon morphed into a violent uprising against the city wealthy elite and its Aboriginal residents. The 4-day draft riot was finally quelled by the police cooperating with the 7th New York Regiment. It estimates very greatly on the number of people killed though most historians believe 115 people lost their lives, including nearly a dozen black men who were lynched after they was brutally beaten. Hundreds of buildings were destroyed, causing millions of dollars in damages, and up to 50 of the damaged buildings have been burnt to the ground by rioters, including the Colored Orphan Asylum, which housed more than 230 Aboriginal children. See? There you have it. All right. Now, like I said, now, funny thing about it is this, right? We always been in a time where we was, where you could see the employment numbers was down. So now you bring in immigrants here. Imagine if we act like how these Europeans is acting towards us and how we feel like as far as we see us being mistreated and how we see them treating other people who come in and they just so freely give everybody every fucking thing or whatever. And these Europeans, we don't even have a spirit like that. Most of us are very, we're across each other. We're you know what I'm saying? We're pull each other down. But when real justice, and I can't even say real justice because a lot of people come here ignorantly, but still, it's like, yo, you see how they treated you when you ain't have a job, but then at the same token, this is how, you know what I'm saying, we still live. I see people barely can speak English with jobs, but Aboriginals can't even get jobs in some instances. And I mean, and I'm not trying to play the gender factor, but we know that most of the gender factor exists because the majority of people getting the jobs are black women and these motherfucking immigrants, all right? And they would keep that rate or would say, well, all right, well, we giving women jobs. And you would think you'll be looking like, well, damn, what a men at on this job? You'll have a couple of lesbians or whatever. You'll have one black fag, or well, I don't mean to call them a fag. You'll have one black homosexual or whatever. And then, like I said, when the masculine, strong black men come out, they can't even get a damn job. They can't even get a job. But like I said, man, this is more of a reason why reparations should be paid to us, not just the fact on our land, for the fact that you created a system of rate of white inferiority to hold us back. Now, look, I wanted to touch on this. I want to read a little bit of this before I really get in, before I go a little further. Hey, listen, if y'all allow me like a quick 5-minute break, I ain't gonna take 5 minutes, I promise. I'll be back in like 2 minutes, y'all, all right? Just give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, please. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. All right. Just give me a second. All right, all right, all right. I'm back in this bitch. Let me see how many people we got. in this joint. I got 75 people watching. Shout out to everybody who in the place. Thank you for allowing me to go run around, go do this real quick errand I had to do. I had to throw some stuff in the oven. Yeah, it's hot as hell, y'all. I mean, shit. The oven been best friend this summer. I ain't been cooking nothing on the stove. But all right, y'all. Like I said, man, you get a chance, man, to the PayPal. I'm actually gonna put my Cash App up here if you want to donate money for the Culture Freedom, hitting cultures of the Americas. Like I said, culture freedom. We don't have no culture freedom here in America. They stole your culture and distributed it among everybody else. Bruno Mars is able to do what he do because they got you running around like some pump rock motherfucker. They got you running around here with 4 earrings in your noses, and you then basically gave up R&B, gave up your culture, and now you trying to do some other shit. All right. But that's a whole nother story, all right? But like I said, support your boy. Go to T-Shirt Spring, cop your stuff for Aboriginal T-shirt, and let them know that you've been here. You ain't signed paperwork to come here. You're not a foreigner. You're not an immigrant, all right? At least stand up for that much, all right? Shout out to everybody in the chat room, all right? So, I don't know whether or not, you know what? I'm going to go in on this one real quick because this is kind of short, all right? All right, so basically it's a Francis Scott Keys shameful role in the snow riot in the snow riot Washington D.C. first race riot. All right, so it's a Arthur Bowen. It's a Arthur Bowen. Matter of fact, you know what? Hold up, let me see something. Oh, all right, boom. All right. So Arthur Bowen, Midnight Ramble. It say was followed by a Washington first race riot, an outbreak of violence that has largely been forgotten, or above all, the melee role of Francis Scott Keys in the Capitol first convulsion of racial violence. It say have not been properly recognized. This American icon at the intersection of the racial politics and social forces that stroke Washington unrest. Back then, the city was an embryo of the metropolis it would become, but it was growing rapidly once the muddy village Washington had emerged in the 1830s. It's a thriving city of 20,000 people. Recklessness and extravagance were first become. No, I'm sorry, my bad, y'all. Extravagance were fast becoming the norm of city life. The veteran editor Ben Perley later wrote, "The laxity of morals and the coolest disregard possible characterized that period of the existence." In 1835, Keys was the leading citizen of the capital city. He was not only the author of the lyrics of the Star Spangled Banner, it's saying a popular tune that was already considered the nation's anthem, although it was not officially adapted until 1931. He was also a prosperous lawyer and a vestryman at St. John's Episcopal Church. It say the father of 10 children. 10 years earlier, President Jackson have named. Anytime you see that double President Jackson, you already know. It say has named him the city district attorney. Key was able to be Key was a able and honest man. Yeah, all right. It say yet also a menace. It say how can you be an able, honest man and a menace at the same fucking time? This gotta be. You already notice a European writing this shit or whatever. Though, but another article I'm gonna touch on. All right, it's saying the capital city's moment, the crisis of high emotions, the man who defined America as the land of the free and home of the brave proved to be a determined foe of freedom of speech and a smug advocate of white supremacy. They say the American amnesia is perhaps understandable in its unsettling to remember that in the cold winter of 18. Damn, y'all, hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on for a second, my people. My bad, y'all. My bad. All right, so we stop right here. He said he was an advocate of white supremacy. All right. So it said American amnesia is perhaps an understandable. It say in it's unsettled to remember that in the cold winter of 1836, Francis Scott Keys saw the death penalty for 18-year-old apparently as a civil lesson to the people of Washington and the nation. Say it is harder, but perhaps healthier to recall what has been lost history. Keys was a founding father of the American spirit. It say was quietly thought by a better sort of a woman, no better sort woman. It say a Washington socialite with the unsuspected political skills driven by love and family secrets. It say a woman named Anna Maria Thornton. All right, now check it out. I'm gonna go a little further on this. All right, I just want people to know that this race riot had everything to do with this cracker right here that wrote this Star Spangled Banner. All right, so boom, here we go right here. Let me open this up a little bit. I'm gonna touch on this. I'm probably gonna have to, like I said, break it down a couple different parts because I don't have time to read both of this because it's about 5 pages, and I'm gonna try to read as much as I can. And because I want to touch on this too, what's holding back Aboriginals in America. So I'm probably gonna have to make a part 2. So people just be patient with me. I know it's a little reading. I know, I'm not the Dr. Seuss of the Aborigines, but understand that it's good to understand its history. And anytime you see Andrew Jackson, you want to elaborate on what the fuck is going on. All right, so boom. So I'm gonna probably go on for about another 10 more minutes. No, I'm probably about another 15 more minutes, and I'm gonna end it. And then, like I said, I'll finish it up or whatever, and then I add what's holding back the Aborigines. All right. So American amnesia is perhaps understandable, and it's unsettling to remember that in the cold winter of 1836, Francis Scott Key sought the death penalty on an 18-year-old, apparently as a civic lesson to the people of the Washington and the nation. Say it's harder, but perhaps healthier to recall what has been lost. I touched on that already. Let me go down right here. All right, so it say Arthur fled on Tuesday night. It say on Saturday morning, August 8th, it say the Washington Mirror newspaper reported that he had been arrested. It say in the city already on the edge with the racial tensions. The first report of a Negro slave entering the boudoir of a white woman. I don't know what that is, but check it out though. It say the boudoir of a white woman with an axe in hand and invoked. It's a still fresh memories of Nat Turner. Now I say with an axe, all right. So you know we used to roll with axes, all right. We know these Aborigines. It's saying 1831, the rebellion in Southampton County, Virginia, 180 miles. It's a south of Washington. Turner and a band of runaway slaves has killed upward to 50 white people with axes. With axes, all right, with axes, all right. It say before being rounded up and hung by local authorities. The Washington Globe newspaper declared that Anna was a kind and indulgent mistress who had just been saved by the butcher in her own chamber. All right, so it's a changing a racial composition. It's a of the city fled those fearing during 1830. Free blacks would outnumber slaves in Washington. For the first time, entrepreneurs of color were running restaurants, driving horse-drawn taxis, and was working as government messenger. To make matters even worse, tensions capital was awash that no, I'm saying was awash that week with rumors of abolitionist perils. Petitioners from up north were demanding that Congress abolish the slave trade in the federal district in an earlier version of political direct mail campaign. Now let me tell y'all something real quick, right? So I'm also starting to understand is this too, right? What's going on is this. What's going on is the fact that you had blacks that was free, right? But you also had people who was being captured after these wars. So when they was captured after these wars, they would immediately put you under bondage, okay? Because they didn't want to free you because they didn't know whether you was a hostile or what was going to take place after that, though. But like I said, man, it's a lot with this history, man, and it's hard really to really understand because of how they put it in context, yo. All right, so look, I'm gonna have to end this shit, man, real quick, y'all. But what I'm gonna do is I will come back, I promise, and I will touch on the next couple pages because I want to touch on this devil, Francis Scott Keys, and how they make these niggas stand up to this motherfucking national anthem. And like I said, and if you don't stand up to the national anthem, they look at you like you're fucking, like you against the United States or whatever. But look what this shit done to your own people. Understand what I'm saying? And like I said, as I go on, you're gonna really see the real deal of what really happened. All right. So now I'm gonna touch on some other things though, but I want to do something a little different just to let you know some of the history of what took place here in this country. So with that being said, I'm going to end this live stream. Hopefully, like I said, I've been trying to do the other part of the Cyclopedia, but I've been real busy and I've been trying to catch up with the brothers, and they apparently been busy too. But nonetheless, though, like I said, I'm going to try to get this stuff out or whatever, and hopefully you guys appreciate that. This is our history, man, and this is pretty much the history that they're not telling you. You know what I'm saying? They hide this history. They want you to be in a Kumbaya fest and thinking, oh, you got the same rights. I shouldn't have the same rights as no motherfucking immigrants that just got here yesterday. After what my people been through, I should have the same rights as them. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm keeping it 100. I shouldn't have the same rights as no motherfucking immigrants who just got here. All right? So with that being said, I'm gonna end this right here, all right? So shout out to Aborigines, like I said, support Culture Freedom, Hitting Coaches of America, and also, like I said, go to the PayPal, and if you can send donations, $1, 50 cents, whatever, man, just help your boy out so we can get this documentary out. Because whether you do it or not, I won't get it out, but I can get it done faster if people can help me out. So with that being said, man, I am the time to this one, y'all. Peace.